we're going to jump into the So method. We're going to talk about her integration, facilitation, and her big why. So Lillian So is an integrator and a facilitator of transformation. She has more than 20 years of industry experience in creating psychological safety, group facilitation, and compassionate communication. The founder of SOfit SF Inc. and the So method. She is passionate. She's also passionate about community building and an entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. So, welcome.
Hello, Sue. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
You are so welcome. So I do the formal bio, Lillian, and I want the audience to get to know your energy, your why, your background, because you've come, it's over 20 years of integration, 20 years of education. You started at age 11. I want to dive into all of this.
Pretty much, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started my career in fitness at a very early age. I started literally like as early as, they let you legally receive a paycheck. I started working in the fitness industry at the gym. The closest health club, actually, it's the only medical-based health club in Chicago. I'm originally born and raised in Chicago. And I started my career in fitness because I started exercising and dieting at such a young age because I was, constantly criticized by family members, growing up in an Asian household. And, it's kind of a known thing, that Asian family members, have kind of no filter and they tend to be very blunt and, they kind of take, before they even say hello, they're like, oh my goodness, why are you so fat? Or like, oh my goodness. You're so overweight, it's like, oh, wow, hey, auntie, long time no see. And, you kind of start with that. And so, growing up, I heard so many comments, and what's funny is like, I don't even think that they were trying to necessarily make me feel bad or, put me down or anything like that. It's just so, normal part. It's such a normal part of the culture to just be so honest and blunt like that. And, but of course it made me very insecure and self-conscious. And so that's really how I started my fitness, because I started exercising and dieting at a young age. But that eventually turned into something that I was very interested in and passionate about, and, started, my career in fitness, and then eventually went down various rabbit holes of self-development and healing and, coaching and therapeutics and all that good stuff as I wanted to continue to access more of my potential health and happiness. So that's how I ended up where I'm at today.
I love it. And you have a new baby, a new book?
I do. My new book is
Empowered. Yes, go ahead, love.
Oh, yeah. No, it's called So Empowered. And obviously, So is my last name. And there's a bunch of, we have kind of like a running joke in my community. Everything starts with So. And it kind of started with the name of my company, SOfit Incorporated. And then from there, everything turned into a So word, So I have the So method. And, when you get really fit with me, you get so fit. And, all the pillars start with a So. And so it was a no-brainer, for this book to be called So Empowered as well. So, and it's so weird because then I find myself saying So all the time, and then I get all self-conscious about saying the word So every 5 seconds. But here we are.
I understand that completely. Well, congratulations on the So Empowered. What brought you to the book? Talk to me about that, your why, people listening and educating through that process.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. So, to be quite honest, I have a really I've historically, for many, many, many years now, doing the integrative work that I do. And I think anybody who's, maybe you too, anybody who's in the space of doing holistic work and integrative work, it can be really hard to describe, explain, or tell somebody what you do. And so, typically, whenever I meet someone, if I'm at like a party or if I'm at some kind of event, and people ask me what I do, I always freeze and I kind of choke up and I'm like, I hate this question. It's like, oh, well, do you have a minute? Because I have to kind of explain to you what I do. And, because I don't want to, I feel like just calling me, a fitness professional or a yoga therapist or life coach, it always feels so incomplete because I do all of those things. And so throughout my career journey, my personal journey, my entrepreneurial journey, it's always been a little bit of a challenge to really sum up what I do in a quick title or a label. And so one of my big reasons that I wanted to write this book was actually first, what inspired me was, for me, I was like, what can I do as almost like an exercise or a discipline for myself? What can I do so that I can try to get better at describing getting my message out there, explaining to people what it is that I actually do. And perhaps going through an exercise of writing a book will help me get a little bit more fine-tuned and help me dial in my message and dial in what it is that I actually do. So that was kind of where the first thought or idea came from. And then as I started to think about, okay, well, let's make this happen. What is my book actually going to be about? What am I going to write about? My book coach actually, she was the one that was like, well, tell me a little bit about your programs. What is your process like? What's the first thing your clients learn when they come to you? And I was like, oh, well, that's easy. The first thing I teach my clients is the 5 layers of the body, that you are a holistic being, that you are not just a physical being, walking around in a meat suit, but you are also made of energy, thoughts and feelings, spirit, wisdom, and bliss. And my book coach was like, oh, well, duh, that's it. Like, that's your book. Like, you have to start with that. That is your first lesson. That is the whole reason why you do what you do. That's exactly what all of your work revolves around, in many ways, is teaching people how to take care of all the aspects of themselves, not just their physical body, but all the layers of their body. And so that's where you need to start. And I was like, oh, yeah, duh. Why didn't I think about that? That is exactly it. Like, that is the whole reason why I started my company, over 10 years ago. That's the whole reason why I kept going down all these different rabbit holes. Even though I started my career in fitness, I was so interested in so many other things because I knew there was more to, health, happiness, wholeness than just fitness and just taking care of your physical body. So it all kind of came full circle when I decided to write my book, The 5 Layers.
I love that. Do we get to talk about those 5?
Of course, absolutely. Yay! Anything you want, go for it.
You lead, girl. This is your juicy area. You go for it. So, and really quick though, I want to remind the audience how juicy this is and we're on the same vein. I mean, you're speaking my language, and having that holistic approach, and it's a whole mind, body, spirit connection and evolution and education, because, at least for me, you can't have one without the other. There's always an ebb and flow and something somewhere in your life in said expansion, said education of where you're at, whether it's you have an ailment in your body and you got to look at the spiritual aspect of it, or the mental aspect, the psychological aspect, the energetic aspect of it, just having that awareness and looking at your whole mind body as this beautiful vessel. So I love that, because this isn't a conversation, and I've never promoted the whole fast food kind of mentality, and you are right there in alignment. And it's a holistic, literally the whole body, mind, and spirit. So right on for you, girl. Thank you for stepping in the rink and showing up so big. And isn't it so true that we teach most what we need to learn?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that was pretty much what I talk about inside the book. It's like, this changed my life when I realized that you are actually a multifaceted, multi-layered being. Everything clicked for me. I was like, of course, it actually validated everything that I already intuitively knew since the time I was a young child, that you are clearly so much more than just this physical thing. I mean, yes, of course, biology is important, and we are a physical body having a very physical, biological experience on Earth. But, ever since I was, a small child, I always, felt connected to, lots of different things. I didn't know it then, but now as an adult, full-grown adult looking back, I'm like, oh, I realized even back then as a child, I was always very sensitive. I was always very intuitive. I was very aware of my thoughts I was very kind of self-conscious and aware, and, and I didn't know what to do with all of that. And so I was always this like very feely, sensitive, curious child my whole life. And so when I really started to understand the 5 layers of the body, it was like, oh, like, of course, this all makes so much sense. So things really clicked for me in a major way. And it was so life-changing and life-altering for me. And it only made sense to also now relay and translate this work and this message to, the world in my own way as well, in a way that's actionable, practical, and implementable, if that's even a word, as soon as you start reading through the chapters.
Absolutely. So give us some. Oh, go ahead, love. I didn't want to talk over the top of you. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say. So please let me know where I can start and where you would like me to start digging in.
Well, let's give them some, because I love what you're saying. It's real time, real life. That's what I promote, and that's my niche. It's real time, real life, self-regulating tools to help you keep on the sustainment train. Can I say that? Sustainment. Ooh, that's a big word. Give us some real life, real tools, mindset hacks. Because and again, we're coming out of the holidays. We've eaten too much. We've drank too much. We've talked too much. Or somebody, the family cultures or the dynamics. So how can we get back to ground? How can we, align those 5 pillars of our life based on your methods and what you teach in So Empowered and the So method?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with the beginning and the basics. So, the book is called So Empowered, Discover the 5 Layers of the Body so you can take control of your life. And I think obviously every single person wants to be as healthy as they can be, as happy as they can be. They all want to, reach their full potential and, do it in a way that's, again, easy, actionable, implementable right away. And so the book is full of all of that, and we go layer by layer by layer. And so I should start with a couple of the basics. So first things first, the 5 layers of the body is actually adapted from yoga and yoga philosophy. I want to make sure that I give credit, to where it all starts and where I even discovered all of this. And so when I started my own personal journey of digging deeper, wanting to, I was feeling very burned out from my fitness career, and I wanted to explore more of, why I'm feeling burned out, why I keep finding myself in various different, patterns, and why I keep feeling like I'm pushing the boulder uphill in various different areas of my life, including relationships and, health and, abundance and whatnot. And so I enrolled myself in what I call yoga school, and eventually, fell in love with it, changed my life. And I went on to become a yoga therapist and then, went into doing all these other studies as well. But in yoga, when I was first learning yoga, I was very, very fortunate to stumble upon a very traditional 8-limb yoga philosophy-based program. And yoga teaches us that the whole being, in order to reach, self-actualization, or to reach really what I consider our full potential, our highest self, we have to integrate and sync all 5 koshas. So that's what it is in Sanskrit in yoga, called koshas, and that they basically translate to sheets or layers of the body. And so these 5 layers of the being, of the whole being, is your physical body, which is the outermost layer, obviously your skin and bones and flesh and organs. And then there's your energetic body, your mental, emotional body, which is your thoughts and feelings, your spiritual wisdom body, which is your deep knowing, your intuition, that inner compass that's always trying to guide you, but we tend to override and ignore, as life and influences get in the way. And then your bliss body, which is your heart center. Your bliss center is your heart center. It's your soul calling. It's the things that light you up and the things that bring you joy. And so, first of all, just realizing that you have 5 layers in itself is already very, very life-changing. for a lot of people because it's like, oh, right, like that makes sense why maybe I've been just trying to diet and exercise this 10 pounds away, for the last 5 years, up and down and up and down, and I'm not seeing results. And so to somebody that might resonate with that, I would say, well, this is why it's probably because you're not integrating all 5 layers of the body. Yes, you may be exercising every single day and, trying all these different, and going up and down in your weight, but you're not taking care of your energy, right? You're not setting boundaries. You're overextending yourself. You're constantly people pleasing. And that keeps your cortisol levels up. That keeps your body stressed out. It doesn't allow your body to truly let go of the stubborn weight that you've been holding on to for the last 5 years. That originally came on because you were going through a really stressful time in your life. Or maybe, you've been dieting and exercising and you've been trying so hard, but you don't realize that you have feelings and thoughts and you're not letting yourself emote. You're not feel your feelings. You're constantly overriding your feelings, ignoring the fact that you maybe feel sad, or maybe you lost a loved one, a couple years ago, but you didn't really ever allow yourself to grieve that loss because you have family and responsibilities and you just overrode those feelings and you haven't really processed some of those thoughts and feelings that you had from years ago. And so those are all of the things that might be getting in the way of you not actually losing the weight. And so that is where even knowing about the 5 layers of the body can really change the way that you think about how you take care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally as well. So that's where we can start. And then we can go into hacks and tips and action steps from there.
Oh, I love it. Let's do it. Bring it on. Practical tools. Yeah. And I love this conversation about the 5 layers and that soul calling, that bliss body. It's your outer body, it's your energetic, it's your mental, your spirituality, and then that bliss, that soul calling. I love it. And let's talk about that too. And there's some things that were coming up for me when I was on your website. And you were writing a blog about asking for help. And asking for help is strength, not a weakness. And I think that is paramount with the energy and everything that's going on and has been going on for so long. I would love to dive into that conversation. You intuit where you feel that we should be headed, and I'm going to let you go ahead and lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk briefly. Let me briefly talk about bliss, and then let's talk about asking for help, and then, what that looks like on a very practical level. I talked a little bit about, I used the example of trying to lose weight and maybe not being able to lose that weight. And perhaps it's because, you're not taking care of your energetic body. Perhaps it's because you're not paying attention to your, feelings. You haven't allowed yourself to process, something that happened a year ago or whatever. And then there's also, your spirit wisdom body, which is, you're not listening to your gut. You're listening to all these other fad diets when really your deep wisdom actually tells you, that you know exactly what to do, but you're, listening to all these internet gurus, that just, started, posting tips and, tricks on Instagram a year ago, when really, you probably have a lot more, intuition around what your body needs, more than, somebody that, like I said, was posting content, a couple months ago. But also your bliss center is, the part of you that wants to have fun, that connects to joy, laughter, the things that light you up. I mean, I've had so many clients, even when I was deep in my fitness career and even up until now, I've worked with so many people who have, autoimmune health problems, skin issues, health issues, their hair is falling out, or, they're feeling like they're not getting anywhere with their relationship. They keep on, running into walls and communication issues and whatnot. And a lot of times those issues are manifesting because they haven't had a day off, in a year, or they haven't allowed themselves to go on vacation and just play and just have fun and be goofy. I mean, I've had so many clients who have no idea, who forget that they are actually a joyous, playful being. Somewhere along their journey, they've stopped having fun. They stopped goofing off. They stopped being silly and ridiculous. And because they haven't tapped into that bliss center, that joy center, their body is falling apart. I know that sounds maybe kind of out there, but it's so interconnected. Once again, it's like, of course, if you have not allowed yourself to have fun and play for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, yeah, over time, your body's probably going to fall apart. Yeah, over time, your relationships are probably going to suffer because you don't even realize how much stress and grief and resentment has built up time. And that's now bleeding out into your health, into your relationships, your success, your financial well-being as well. And so it is so important to make sure that you don't take yourself so seriously every now and again. Have some fun, goof off, like we all have things that make us, laugh and light us up. And we have to make time for that on a very regular basis. I mean, daily, honestly. I was telling my clients yesterday, I'm like, hey, fun fact, did you know that you should actually do something relaxing and fun every day, not just like once a week or once every quarter or only when you go on vacation? And it's like we forget that.
Oh my gosh,
that we
totally
need that.
Yeah, we get so bogged down in life and relationships and resentment and expectations and just all the stuff, right? And I love that you're offering this big, huge permission slip. And this has been kind of the theme this past year of me doing the live radio shows. And it's just like this umbrella of, guess what? Lillian says it's so, I'm playing on your last name, of course, but it is. You have permission, the permission slip. And we're offering you the tools to do that. So with that, you know what, Lillian, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we come back. And I love the conversation. We all forget to be joy and we forget to be silly. Go jump in the snow, jump in a puddle, get muddy, get dirty, go have fun. And for those of you that literally have really forgotten, I don't know how to do that, and you're stuck in the rut, keep listening. We've got some great tools. We're going to give you that inspiration. We're going to give you some practicality, and we're going to love on you some more. So with that, we've got Lillian So on the Gratitude Cafe. This is Sue Lundquist, and we are going to be right back.
All right. All clear and still live on YouTube, kids.
Hey, kids. Thank you, Benny. All right. Oh, I love this conversation, Lillian. This is so juicy. And I'm serious. It seems like there's been this whole permission slip, this whole, not justification, because that gets sticky. It's like, because just like you said, people forget, oh, I don't have to do that. I don't have to be that way. That's right. That's an old program that my parents gave me or the coach said to me or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I forget that even, even though I teach it.
Gosh,
I find myself like sitting at my desk for too long and I've had like that furrow in between my brows for like an hour straight. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. What am I doing? And I like give myself a little self massage and I'll put on a song and like, just goof off for a little bit and just, do a little dance to a song, anything. And it just kind of breaks me out of that. And I can feel the grip on my brain release, and like even in just three minutes of just, shaking it out, it's like so crazy how we get so caught up and, get so serious, or as my partner likes to say, get so serial. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm so serial right now. I'm like, I know.
Hey, I love it. I say that too. I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
So serial.
My partner's so great about, my partner's really great about that too. He always, makes up goofy names for things all the time and just kind of keeps everything light and, always reminds me, it's like, gosh, if you're not having fun, what is the point? I mean, even if you're making $1 million a year, if you're not having fun, what is the point? Oh my gosh, you're just hoarding and just, hoarding whatever it is, whether it's money or time or work or whatever. It's like, what is the point of that? So yeah. So important.
Oh, so, okay, this is a really good conversation. We may want to, we're going to do this on YouTube, but we may want to extend it onto the radio, because the comeback that I have even had is I don't have that luxury. They're caught up in their head and they think that they can't have fun and do important hard work at the same time. Right?
Totally.
Oh, no, I don't have the luxury like you do. And I'm like, what? Well, that's resentful. Love you. That's on you. I know. Or like, I'm choosing this.
Yeah. Or like the must be nice crowd, right?
Or the what?
Nice. The must be nice mentality. The must be nice crowd. Like, must be nice. You can, you must be nice. You can have time for X, Y, and Z, and that's so much of what I talk about in the book. It's like, oh my gosh, you just make time for it, just like anything else. And people might think like, oh, making time for fun or play is like, oh, like must be nice to have that luxury.
Hate to interrupt there, Lillian. I got to bring you guys
back.
Here we go.
Okay, we're going back live.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Benny. Welcome back, everybody. Happy holidays. This is Sue Lundquist, your host of the Gratitude Café. We are joined here by Lillian So. We have been talking the first half of the hour about the So method, her latest book, So Empowered. You can find more information about her, and I'll send you all the links. You can just go to my website and sign up for the newsletter, SueLundquist.com/newsletter. We were just on YouTube having another really good conversation, and it's all about, again, I'm going to go back to the whole permission slip, right? And you're forgetting that you can have fun. Or like Lillian and I were talking about on YouTube and during the break is, oh, well, I don't have the luxury like you do, having that comeback. Let's have that conversation again, Lillian.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we often think that fun or even like making time to work out, is a luxury. And it's so not true. Like, oh, I don't have time, right? One of the number one excuses or, problems we all have as busy, high achieving professionals, moms, parents, whatnot. And we all say, I don't have time. But the thing is, you have to make time. You have to make time for everything, whether it's making time for cooking yourself a meal or making time for exercise. You also have to make time for fun. You really do. It's not something that you can put off or only do when you have vacation time, or, it's not something that you have at the end of all of your responsibilities when you have some luxurious time left over. It's really not how it works. And we have to remember that fun is something that we have to make time for as well. And it doesn't have to be in the form of a whole day event of arts and crafts or, going to the jumpy house with your kids. I mean, I think people think that like, oh, fun means that I have to go and like, get arts and crafts and make tie-dye shirts with my kids or something. And it's like, what? Like, I'm sorry. I'm all about having fun, but I don't have time for that either. So much of what I talk about in my book is literally like, you can do it in 5 minutes every day. There's so many ways to do that. And,
I love that.
Some of the simplest ways to do that is literally taking little breaks, like minute breaks. Play your favorite song. Go and have a dance party. They say that if you work at your desk all day, to take breaks like every hour or so, right? Like there's lots of different methods. I think there's the Pomodoro method, or I might be making that up. I might be saying the wrong name, but there's all these different methods, right? Oh, get up every 45 minutes, 52 minutes and whatnot. And you can get up, every hour of the day and play your favorite song and shake it out and do a goofy dance and make yourself laugh, right? For 3 minutes at a time. Just give yourself a little, hit of those endorphins and serotonin, all those little happy chemicals. You can do it by, if you have pets, if you're a pet person or if you're a dog person, go to the dog park. Go to the dog park, walk a walk. I live close to a couple parks. I can get to the closest park by my house in about 5 minutes. There's always tons of dogs out there, just blissed out. They could chase a ball for hours. I've never seen, a creature so happy in my life as a dog chasing a ball. They can just do it for hours. And you can
and that
do that.
Joy. I know it brings me joy.
Totally. I mean, how often, have you ever seen just a goofy dog, especially like a lab, right? Like labs are so goofy. You can, they just, go and find a ball and they're so happy and they wiggle their butts and, they shake their tail and they're so like blissed out and so unaware of anything else. And it just makes you laugh. It just puts a smile on your face. And there's so many ways that you can do that. And even in my book, I say you have to schedule it. I literally say schedule bliss. You have to make time for it. And so it doesn't have to be a huge thing, but it can literally be, just making time to, check in with a friend or, my best friend back home in Chicago, every now and again, she's such a jokester and I love it so much. And, she's got 2 kids. She's always, making jokes about how her, kids are tiny terrors and, how they're always, trying to, make her life difficult and whatnot. But, she always stops and kind of looks at the humor behind it all. She'll take a picture of her, daughter who got into her makeup, her 2-year-old daughter. She's obsessed with makeup right now. And so she will find a way to make it to her bedroom and find her makeup. And she'll just, smother herself in lipstick and, make a mess out of her bedroom with eyeshadow. And, and of course she'll get upset for a moment and be like, oh my God, I can't believe she just made, now I got to clean this up. But then she'll take a picture of it and she'll be like, this is how my day's going, how's yours? And it just cracks me up. And because it cracks me up, it cracks her up. And then it just kind of, gives her a little bit of space and laughter in the middle of her day, even though now she's got this whole mess to clean up and it's a total nightmare because she's also got to, clean up the house and make a meal and help her son with his homework and whatnot. But it's just finding those moments, to just really see how hilarious things are sometimes. I mean, sometimes I feel like when things are going wrong, quote unquote wrong, sometimes that's like when it's the most funniest because you just have to laugh at it. It's like, oh my God, of course. Like, of course, this is what's happening right now on the busiest day of the year.
Really
like, of
good,
course.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm going to talk over top of you. Pardon me, we're the airwaves, but that is a really important conversation to have because people, they get so spun out in that space too. And I love that your girlfriend does that too. And I was a mom of 3 girls, so I get that big time. But yeah, it's important to have that memory. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of course, like sometimes in the moment, it's like, oh my gosh, this is awful. I hate this. I wish this wasn't happening. But sometimes if you, and I always teach my clients to zoom out, right? Sometimes if you just zoom out, you can kind of see the humor behind it all. It's like, I think there's like those sayings, right? Like make plans and God laughs or something like that. I don't know. I'm probably totally butchering that, but it's so true. There have been many times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I just have to laugh at this. Like here I am so, so tightly wound up about wanting, even my book, actually, even this book, right? I thought this book was going to be released in the spring of 2021. And, and I just crack up about it now because it didn't actually launch until December. I thought it was going to be out by March or April. I mean, that's like a huge, that's like 6, 7, 9 months of just quote unquote problems and snags that kept happening. But I just have to laugh at it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I laughed thinking about how I thought it was going to be done in the spring. But little did I know, that it's that all of these issues were going to pop up. And I just kind of laugh at it now because it's like, oh wow. And then the 10th edit happened. And then the readability edit. And then 100 covers later, and I thought it would be so simple.
Right, Lillian? Isn't it perspective too? I mean, you can choose to get angry. You can choose to get resentful. Now, granted, there's problem solving. That's not what I'm saying. And the big disclaimer there. There is problem solving in day-to-day stuff and work and relationships. I'm not taking the Pollyanna method here. It's just how about, finding the laughter. And what I do and what I teach is everything has a lesson, everything. And to create, I say the C season life. I've coined it. I love it. It's called the C season life in those moments. And it's to have compassion and get curious about what's going on. So have the C season life in those moments, compassionate curiosity, because it takes the sting out of that.
Yeah,
Isn't
I
that
love
juicy?
that. Yes, compassion and curiosity. I love that. Exactly, because I teach that too. And it's so true. I mean, if you can't have compassion and curiosity, if you can't find the lesson in things, then, oh my gosh, then you're just going to be stuck, with victim mindset the whole time. You're just not going to be able to see the opportunity for expansion and growth there. And you're just going to, be like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? This is awful. You're going to be stuck in that loop. And then, that's really not very fun either. There's no growth in that. There's no
right.
There's
And
no
if we go
expansion
back to the 5 pillars or the 5 layers of your book, you talk about that in your book, So Empowered, too. So if you are riddled with anxiety and guilt, there's that imbalance, in 2. Absolutely. Or, all of that. Go ahead, love.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to say, you always have a choice. You always have a choice at any moment, even when things are, when you're down in the dumps and things don't seem to be going your way and you're on your 10th rejection letter when you're looking for a job or, you're whatever it is, you get into another argument with your mom when you said that you were going to do better next time and not get triggered by her. You can always choose. You can always choose to have, like you say, compassion for yourself. But you can always choose, right, to have compassion. You can always choose to try again. You can always choose to see the lesson in it. It's like, okay, I got triggered again for the 1100th time, even though I said I would do better. And so what does this teach me? This teaches me that maybe I shouldn't answer the phone when I'm in the middle of cooking dinner. I should wait until I have tons of space and capacity so that I can, be able to hold the space between, my own triggers and my mom and her needs, right? And so you can always choose, how you want to, see the current situation. Absolutely. And so
it is. It's all perspective. Go ahead, love.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, so with that said, happy to go over any tips and hacks and things like that you think might be helpful or, useful.
Let's do it. Do it, girl.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I think the biggest thing that we're talking about bliss and we've been talking about fun, which is technically the 5th layer of the body, which is the blissed body. And that is so important. And doing those things brings it back full circle to the first layer of the body, which is the physical body. Something that I always say is it shows up in the body last. I used to think when I first started my career in fitness and, taking care of my body, and I was very, health focused, and I'm still health focused now too. I used to always think like, oh no, if there's a rash showing up or if I'm putting on weight or whatever, that's the first indication that something is wrong and that something isn't maybe working right or something needs change or tweaks or reflection or whatever. But what I've learned over time, especially working with the 5 layers and so forth, is that it actually shows up in the physical body last. So let's go back to bliss for a second. So if you are not having fun, if you are not seeing the opportunity for growth, lesson, joy in, even the hardest times, if you're not actually giving yourself that permission slip to just goof off every now and again, get up every hour, have a little dance, have a laugh with your friends, it's actually that the consequences of that are going to show up in your physical body last. If you're not having fun often, it's going to show up in your body as literal aging. It's going to show up as aches and pains. It's going to show up as weight gain. It's going to show up as, you can see the wear and tear in your eyes on your literal face. And it may manifest as, rashes and hair loss and things like that. So if you are seeing some of these things in your body and you feel like you're not at your best physically, that is an indication that you have not been taking care of yourself. So with that said, in my book, I always talk about how taking care of your physical body now the easiest place to start in many ways. So if you have not been taking care of your bliss body, you may start to see these side effects in your physical body. So start with taking care of your physical body first, because that's the lowest hanging fruit. It's the easiest way to access your health and happiness right away, like right now. You can literally get off, while you're listening to this radio show right now, if you're not driving or something like that, you can go up and go out for a walk while you're listening to the rest of this program. You can stop in the middle of your workout and do 10 squats, and in between things. You can always, drink more water. You can schedule time in your day to, take a little mental health break and, do a little bit of a meditation. Like these are things that you can do right away. And so your body, your physical body, is actually the easiest place to start taking care of yourself. That is the lowest hanging fruit, because you can always start hydrating. You can always change what you're eating. You can always move your body. And so getting in your body is really, really the easiest way to start taking care of yourself. So as far as, practical tips and, what is a life hack? Oh my gosh, the easiest thing you can do is start taking care of your body. Start moving. Start drinking water.
Start moving and hydrating. All of us, and all of America, the whole world. Oh my God, we're so dehydrated because of all the stuff. We really are. Anyways, go ahead.
No, and it sounds so silly, right? It's like, oh, drink water. Like we hear this all the time, and it sounds like it's so basic, but that's the whole point. It's so basic, but we don't even do it. It's such an easy place to start. And then not only does drinking water literally, hydrate you and helps you, with your skin and, keep your body functioning well and whatnot, but then it makes you, a ripple effect, right? It makes you more aware. It makes you more aware of your energy. It starts to make you more aware of how you feel, and then it starts to ripple into the other layers of the body. It starts to make you more mindful of other ways that you may or may not be taking care of yourself. It's like, okay, great. Now that I've started drinking 60, 80 water a day, I've got that down. What are some other ways that I can start to take care of myself? So I feel like starting with these very, very basic things is key. They're basic for a reason. A foundation for a reason.
Oh, that right there, that is key. And us humans, we think it's got to be tough. Us humans think that we've got to struggle to make something bigger, better, greater, whatever that is, right? And it's not. That's why I created my tools. That's why you created your tools. It's so practical, so simple, yet you have to be, driving the bus here. You have to take the responsibility and the accountability. And guess what? You have the permission, my lovely ones. You do. And you can get even more of these tools in the So Method and her latest book, Lillian's latest book, So Empowered. I love that. And learn more about the 5 layers of the body. And I love that you brought up that the signs and the symptoms are the last things that come to the body versus the first. And also, you know what, when you start hydrating, you're going to notice your skin's different. Yes, you're peeing a little bit more, but that's good. Coffee and those sports drinks are not hydration. They're not. It's water. Throw some cucumber and some lemon in there. Do that. But you'll notice your skin, it looks better. Things are, literally moving better. Joints, bowels, gut, stomach, all of that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have a client who came to me because she was just tired, like literally bone tired. She was burned out. She was exhausted. She's always taking on more than she should, doing other people's work because she wants to be, available, reliable, dependable. She's, eldest daughter, immigrant parents. She was a school teacher. She actually quit that career after working with me and kind of went into some other things. But, when she first came to me, she was literally just burned out. Like that was kind of like her main focus. She's like, I'm just so burned out. She's like, I find myself just down in the dumps and I don't really know where to start. And that was kind of it. And we started her on just the very, very basics, like literally drink water, eat breakfast. And we joke about this all the time because she's like, wow, I had no idea that those two things alone would have made such a huge difference, and they have their own sections in my book because it is literally that important. And after about 16 weeks of being inside my program, first of all, she lost like a ton of weight. Like she lost like 20 pounds, which again, that wasn't even like the top of her wish list, right? It wasn't even like, oh, I want to work with you, Lillian, because I want to lose weight. But she ended up naturally just losing 20 pounds as a result. And then the next craziest thing that happened was her psoriasis went away. And that was not even a thing that she mentioned when she first met me or when she first started working with me. She was like, oh yeah, Lo, by the way, I forgot to tell you, my psoriasis cleared up. Like, what? I was like, you had psoriasis? And she's like, oh my God. She's like, I've had horrible plaque psoriasis since I was 16. I was like, are you serious? She's like, yes. She's like, it's so bad. It was so gross. She's like, I've tried everything, medications, creams, all the clinics for the last, 20 years. She's like, it's never gone away. And she's like, and it's gone. I was like, it's gone? She's like, it's gone. I'm like, what do you, and literally, I know that sounds crazy, but it literally was because she just started taking care of, obviously, her 5 layers. But it started with drinking water. It started with eating breakfast every day. And then slowly, taking care of her energy, setting boundaries, starting to say no, getting in her journal, reflecting on her thoughts and feelings, one by one, just, having a little bit of fun, just taking care of herself physically in that way, not only made her lose weight, and obviously her energy came back and, she's not burned out anymore. She quit her job and the whole thing. But I mean, my God, like 20 years of plaque psoriasis just went away just like that. After, she's been doing steroid shots and, spending hundreds of dollars every month on prescription creams and whatnot. Just amazing. So yeah, the basics go a long way. Drink water. You'd be surprised what it can do for you.
Drink
I know, it
water
sounds
and learn a lot more about the 5 layers. Well, we've got about 5 more minutes, love. I want to recap. We've talked about the 5 layers and meaning Lillian's book in her program, and her latest book is called So Empowered. You can find all the information about her, of course. You can get all the links and information at SueLundquist.com/newsletter. And then also getting her book. And, Lily and I have been talking about really, you have the permission. You just have to remember. And you've got all this greatness in you. You just got to remember. And that's like people like us, that what we're doing, we're stepping in the rink and we're facilitating. We're helping you transform. And more specifically, like Lillian's talking about, and learning about the 5 layers. It's just not one BODY. There's the skin, the outer, there's the energetic, there's the mental, the spiritual, and the bliss body, that soul calling that you have within yourself. And finding that yummy, juicy joy, jumping in the puddle, taking that 5 minutes on the hour, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, even if it's just to close your eyes, set the timer, take some deep breaths. That's another one. Hydrate and breathing, Lillian. Wouldn't you agree? Breathe, breathe, breathe. And you're going to notice so much, right? Okay, so we've got a couple more minutes. We got like 4, maybe 3 minutes because I have to exit us out. What other juicy goodies have you got for us?
I mean, put it on your calendar. If it isn't on your calendar, it doesn't count. This is how you maintain your boundaries. This is how you make time for yourself. We talked about making time earlier, right? Like, oh, it must be nice. I don't have the luxury. Well, you got to put it on your calendar. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't count. It's pretty simple, but that's something that I've been teaching for a long time. And it's like, again, so practical, so simple. I mean, I have everything on my calendar. I have eat lunch on my calendar, morning routine on my calendar. I mean, you probably do too. I bet you have all kinds of stuff on your calendar. I just imagine you do.
And you know what I do, Lillian? I put it at 111, 222, 333. I mean, I play. I get in there and
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
spiritual numbers. There's more energy in that.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's a great pro tip. I'm going to use that too. Exactly. I mean, it's like, I think that's wonderful. I mean, put it in your calendar. I have reminders. I have reminders in my phone that go off, every hour by the hour. just to take care of myself, affirmations, things that I want to call in, like everything from remember to breathe. Like, you're a sexy beast. My clients are the best. My team is the bomb. Like, I have reminders go off constantly. I'm always, I like to, I call it brainwashing myself. I'm always finding ways to brainwash myself, sending myself reminders and, post-its everywhere and whatnot. But yeah, if it isn't on your calendar, it doesn't count. You got to learn how to draw.
And they're wrapped up. Their nervous system is wrapped up in the addiction of the chemical releases that are happening, because there's avoidance and there's denial, and you don't have to do that. You can have fun. You can have love. You can have joy, and actually, that will help facilitate even more in your life to be able to create that and foster it. So stop making the excuses. We're giving you the big old fat permission slip. Go out there, find your joy, find your fun, and you can start with the 5 layers: the skin, the energetic, the mental, the spiritual, and the bliss body, your soul connection. You can find all of that information and even more at Lillian's book, or with Lillian's book, So Empowered. I will have more information at SueLundquist.com/newsletter. And of course, on all the social media. I highly recommend you getting Lillian's book. Go check her out. She's an integrator. She's a facilitator, and it's all about the whole body health.